What's up, good people? Make sure my YouTubers are in. Make sure my YouTubers are in. What's going on, good people? This your boy Surrender, man. How you guys doing, man? Um, this video today, man, I just wanted to talk about a little something that is very troubling to me, man, as well as something that I definitely suffer from as well. And it's stress, man. You know, being stressed and under anxiety, um, and how that affects us physically as well as mentally, as well as socially, emotionally, mentally. And I think that we have not been able to talk about this in the way that we should be talking about it, man. When you think about, you know, the pursuit of wealth, the pursuit of some type of financial stability adds a particular amount of stress on the body, on the psyche, um, just just keeping you. I mean, a lot of us don't see the stress. You know, when you're thinking about our society, I mean, from birth, we're engineered to, tackle the aspect of financing and how we're going to live. And we do it through the means of education. And so we kind of put on our children and on our, us as kids, and we say that you need an education in order for you to have a good life. And so uh, that sometimes allows school to become stressful, even in our early ages, because we need to do well in order to live well. We kind of put the two together, and that adds a certain amount of stress. When kids don't do well in school and they realize that they haven't done so well with that particular part of the engineering process of the education, that also brings about a certain amount of stress. Now that I may not be able to live as good as I feel like I should be able to live based on what was engineered to me, that finances equals education. So you see that stress is a part of our lives early on. And when you don't make money, you live around a certain amount of stressful situations and you have a certain amount of stress and anxiety. And when you do make a certain amount of money or you have a certain amount of education, it doesn't alleviate the stress factor. It's still there. A lot of people with money is stressed out about how to maintain it. And a lot of people who don't have money is stressed out about how to get money, how to obtain the finances. And no matter which end of the spectrum you're on, you're still being endowed with stress. And herbs and the herbal community and the understanding of herbs could really help with these things, really can. When you think about um, what is being under stress, what are some of the symptoms? Having low energy, um, insomnia where you can't sleep, um, always feeling fatigued, and tired and lifeless, right? Um, Stress could also keep you discombobulated, where you're kind of confused. You don't necessarily know which decision to make, which one is the right decision because you're always under stress. Stress also too can be, like I said, a part of anxiety that we're always anxious, we're always on alert. We're always seeming as if we're on alert, whether that be with a spouse. We're always under alert, whether that be at our jobs. We're always under alert, whether that be our communities keep us under alert. Um, we have so many different variables that keeps us always anxious and always alert and never having time to come down, never having time to relax, never having time to be at peace. We're always on the go. We're always thinking about the next step forward, the next day. We're always in the future or either in the past, but we're never in the present. We never have a moment. And for a lot of these people who are stressful, meditation and quiet time seems to be one thing that eludes them. They never can meditate. They matter of fact, they might not even like meditation. They might not even like quietness. If you give them 5 minutes alone, they'll figure out something to do. All right. They'll figure out a noise to make. They'll figure out an argument to have, right? These people are very anxious people. And I'm a Gemini, and I'm not saying that all Geminis are anxious, but we carry the trait of being very anxious individuals. And I personally do have anxiety issues where I'm always constantly thinking about tomorrow, the next 5 minutes, the next day, and that keeps me constantly going. But when that keeps you constantly going like that, then what happens is you'll begin to start feeling fatigue in your adrenals, in your adrenal support, not understanding how stress you know, hampers us physically. Not understanding how stress is so intricate to our health. And so when you're on the go like that, your body is using up a lot of your internal fortitude, a lot of your energy. You're not just going off of anything. You have the moxie to go off of. You have, the serotonin and all of these different juices that's inside of you that can keep you going. The adrenaline, you got it. The cortisol, you have it, but you still have to at some point bring the body back down to some type of homeostasis. Now name a point in your life where you have homeostasis. It's very seldom that we are having homeostasis types of opportunities within our day. So that's why herbs are so highly efficient when it comes to stress and being and need to be stress relieved and having these anxiety issues and these anxiety attacks. And one big area that herbs help out in is in the nervous system. A lot of people who are stressed are very nervous and they have a lot of nervous tension, right? And so they're quick to get an attitude about a certain thing. We don't understand it in the stressful situations. A lot of people who get quick attitudes and who anger very quickly are low in vitamin C. You didn't know that, did you? Which is why when you were younger, as a baby, they gave you what? Warm milk. And what you did, you went to sleep because warm milk was soothing. It was vitamin C, it was calcium, and not necessarily talking about the calcium from the bone. All right. So understand this, that there are things out there that can help us with our anxiety, help us with our stress. And it don't always have to be high powered prescription drugs, and it doesn't always have to be street drugs. It don't always have to be marijuana. It doesn't always have to be alcohol to put you to sleep, to calm you down, to give you some type of perspective, right? And I know that is why Americans to this day, we use so many drugs because of the stress factor. And we don't understand that there's other herbal things out there that doesn't constitute alcohol, killing the liver, or marijuana, giving you respiratory issues, right? So what are some of these herbs? They're called nervines, Nervine, nervines, right? And you can go look up what nervine is. And these herbs are specifically for the performance of the nervous system, right? The nervous system. You can go and get herbs like ashwaganda as a adaptogenic herb. You can go do things like Eleuthero. Eleuthero, you can go and take it every day, right? It's very good for stress reduction and dealing with the stress. But another thing too that I have to mention when we're talking about stress is that stress, these herbs and drugs, no matter which ones, whether they be, street drugs, prescription drugs, or whether they are medicinal herbs, they can only do one part of the factor. The other part is that you have to change your perspective. You have to change that part of you that's causing the stress, that's causing the anxiety, that's causing the insomnia. So one aspect that you have to understand when dealing with herbs is that herbs is a one part thing, and then the other part is your lifestyle has to change. It is the only true way for the medicinal herbs to really have 100% effectiveness. it has to be accumulated, or it has to be combined with the lifestyle change. So then we need to start removing ourselves from some of these stressful situations while we're trying to relieve ourselves of stress. We need to remove our stress ourselves from around some of these people and places and things that keeps us in such a anxious and anxiety mode. This is what we have to do. And then you can combine things like ashwagandha, Eleuthero, rodelio. You can do stuff like Vervain, uh, uh, Valerian. You know, there's a whole big Valerian combination out there that you can use instead of smoking weed every day or instead of drinking every day, right? And like I said, no matter what you do when you do those things, if you don't do a lifestyle change, you go right back into them. Then the effectiveness is only for the split second, right? So when we're talking about valerian, right? Valerian is a sedative type of herb. Chamomile, so mild that you can just take and be so soothing. And something just that small and just that minute could alter your day, could change the way you are looking at your day. Starting your day off with a little chamomile, maybe with a little ashwagandha, with a little Eleuthero or Vervain or elderberry or Valerian. These are the particular herbs that can help when dealing with stress and anxiety, as well as understanding too that there's more to life than chasing or pursuing the mighty dollar. When you look at life, you got to understand something. Some of the most unhealthiest people are people who are working, 16, 18 hours a day. Now as a business owner, I encourage everybody to try to go into business if you can and try to be an entrepreneur if you can, right? But we also got to have time out to relax. You got to have time out to regenerate, to recuperate, to rejuvenate, to revive oneself, right? And so we want to run to these detoxes and we want to run to all of these particular drugs and prescriptions and herbs, and we want to listen to everybody. And it only feeds in the aspect of continuously going and going and going and going. Sometimes you need to be quiet. I heard an herbalist say one day that there are three particular doctors that everyone needs in their life, right? And that's Dr. Quiet, Dr. Diet, and Dr. Laughter, right? And so when we're looking for what we need, when we're looking for what to prescribe me, sometimes it's just about your diet, and sometimes it's just about meditating and going somewhere and relaxing and taking a vacation away from all things that you can't possibly take a vacation from. And sometimes it's just about a good old hearty laugh or two, some funny stuff, some goofy stuff, some never mind what you think about me type of stuff that will allow me to release endorphins and a serotonin and all this feel good stuff begin to coming back into me. And now I begin to realize and understand, and I begin to feel again alive. See, a lot of this business attitude is keeping us unhealthy, and we don't even realize it. Taking time out. And if you never remember anything, remember those three doctors: Dr. Quiet, Dr. Diet, and Dr. Laughter. And if you just go see those doctors when you're feeling stressful, anxious, when you're feeling like you're fatigued, when you're feeling down, when you're feeling low energy, all right, then you know exactly which doctor you need to visit, right? When you're feeling, and so just think about this for a second when you're thinking about stress. Think about how many people who don't really get laughter. A lot of people who are single. There's a statistic out there that say more Americans are living single as they get older because of whatever reasons, high divorce rate, right? People can't stay together. You got people who are dying, got high death rate. So as you get older, you're starting to find yourself by yourself, and now you don't have anybody to come in and maybe do something goofy, say something crazy to get you off kilt, to throw it all off and just begin to bring laughter into your life. So this is true that this is missing. And some of us are so inundated with life and so serious about careers and about kids and about procedures and how we raise them and what we teach them and what we show them that you can't get any enjoyment, any fulfillment, any laughter. Now think about quiet. So many of us have robust lives that sometimes go from one extremity to the other extremity in the blink of an eye. You can have a very, very demanding job and then come home to maybe a not so demanding home environment, or vice versa. You can have a not so demanding job and then come home to a very demanding spouse or very demanding kids that need that time, and that transition from one extremity to the next. You have to know how to balance that. You have to know how to deal with those extremities. And a lot of times when people deal with those, they don't have the time to have any quietness or take any time off. They have to go from one extremity to the next, and from that extremity to the next, and from that extremity to the next. And so what happens is you never ever see any quiet time in your life. Quiet? These are people who have problems with being alone, always having to be around people, talking on the phone, always in the midst of conversation. These people always got to be on social media. They always got to be going, watching a video, reading a book. There's never time that the brain relaxes. There's never time where the heart relaxes. There's never time where they allow their spirit to just be at ease. If you're one of those types of people, which means you're probably very career oriented, you're probably very robust in what you're trying to do and what you have in your life. But I'm telling you, you are missing something, and that is quietness. And that is exactly what the doctor is prescribed. And then we also know that diet, Dr. Diet, is always going to be one that we need to um, definitely fix in our lives, okay? Our diets. And the reason why I say our diets because we consume too much sugar. And when you consume too much sugar, that too will add on to the anxiety and to the stress factor. Okay? Sugar don't do good on the stress. It's almost the thing of when you're talking about gas, right? You got the two cycle, 4 cycle gas, and then you got the regular gas, unleaded. All of this, that one burns faster than the other. So basically, when you're riding on sugar, you burning you're burning gas faster than what you really want. So you need to be really riding on more nutrients, more nutrition, more vegetables, more fruits. Those things give you enough of that good gas that will last a long time. And also, too, while it's in your engine, it also do some cleansing of the motor. It also do some performance enhancement of the motor. So gas, good gas has a few different good qualities that it lends to not just you going the distance, but also too to the internal fortitude of the body itself. When bad gas doesn't do anything good for the system itself, and all it's going to do is run out very fast. All right. So you see how that go? You see how that go? All right, we got to come in over here. What you saying? Let me see what it's saying. Yeah, one of my comments said that also too, taking nature walks in nature will allow one to get some kind of soothing effect. That's right. Taking those little walks to the store instead of jumping. Some of us live 5 minutes from the store, but what we do, we jump in the car. But some of us, all you needed was that 5 minutes to bring you back to balance, bring some perspective back to life. A lot of impoverished people could be experiencing cultural PTSD, cultural anxiety. When you're talking about, police killings, right? Some people could be walking outside every day feeling like they have to watch every, aspect of what's going on around them because they are so afraid to walk down the street, whether it be from the people in the community or whether it be from the people who supposed to be protecting the community. So it ain't all about financial pursuit that causes stress. It could be environmental and cultural things that can cause us stress as well. And what do we do with those things? What I'm saying is, we all know the different avenues that stress can affect us. If we don't know, well, I'm telling you, there are different streams of stress. But again, we don't need to continue to try to deal with stress by eating so much cake. We don't need to try to deal with stress by, eating so much unhealthy, foods. We don't try to deal with stress by staying so busy. We don't need to try to deal with stress by being so serious and so career oriented and so, policy driven and so by the letter that we don't see the finite of life, that we don't see the bliss of the experience that we're here doing. You're not just here to live, work, and die, although we've been engineered to think that way. All right. You are here as being a part of all things living. Okay. And the trees are not that busy to get where they need to live, but they still continue to live. So we need to sometimes learn a few lessons or two from nature to understand that it ain't really that big of a deal, the stuff that you think is. You are more important than the things you're trying to obtain. Taking care of you should be more important than the business that you're trying to take care of. You want to see your kids successful. That's understandable. But you have to continue to listen to yourself. You want to see them successful, not just teach them the ways and then die off. And in order to see your children successful, you have to be here for the long haul. And that is going to be a part of being stress-free and teaching them how to be stress-free. So we remove ourselves from stressful situations. And then we learn how to deal with them outside of taking drugs and prescription drugs. And we learn how to deal with them by taking herbs like chamomile, like valerian, like lavender, right? Like vervain, ashwaganda tea, rhodiola, right? Like Eleuthero. We have what we need to combat the stressful anxiety and insomnia. We got what we need. All we have to do now is obtain the herbs and then obtain the lifestyle. Both hand in hand will guarantee you a more stressless, a more stress-free life. And then you have a more healthy understanding of life. And now you can pass this healthy structure on to, to the family members, because all of us deal with stress. All of us need some type of stress relief. All of us need to understand how to support ourselves in this. All of us need to understand how to deal with ourselves in it. It's not going to get any better as long as we got a bunch of drunks, a bunch of drug addicts, a bunch of sugar addicts. It doesn't get any better. So we have to learn how to deal with ourselves a little better, how to treat ourselves a little better when we're getting into these situations. And I believe that that could help us out a little more. Now, of course, when you're talking about your finances, um, like I said, get into business, go into entrepreneurial things, right? Do velocity banking. Go look at some of these things that will allow the financial side of life to come a little bit more easier. Learn in these areas where you're deficient at, so that you can, you can't be asking for high income without high income skills. That's the bottom line. So now go learn what high income skills are, right? You cannot be looking for yourself to be healthy if you're not eating right, right? If you're eating too much pig and too much cow, then you're not eating right. All right, you need to add some more earth in there, which is some more vegetables and some more fruits. If you're not, if you're so angry and you're so serious, and you're so just, boom, 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 we're gonna do it my way, this way, or the highway, then you're not enjoying life. You're not taking time out to see the beauty in why we're here, the experience of being here, right? And so get it right, things will get better. Get it right, things will get better. So sometimes we have to look at ourselves when we're looking at why we can't come out of a thing. We may not be the ones that particularly started it or particularly brung it into our lifespan, but we ultimately are the ones that have the right to kick it up out of there. And so if you never learn anything else, man, learn how to deal with stress in our lives a little better than arguing and fighting each other, than being drug addicts and abusing ourselves. All right. Until next time, man. I love y'all, and there's absolutely nothing you guys can do about it. I'm your boy Surrender, man. Always chime in. You can like, share, subscribe to videos on YouTube, Leafofvitalessentials.com. We're going to continue to put the herbs out, continue to put the knowledge out, health and wealth. This has been your boy. Peace.